Let's get back to the phones at 248-539-9797. Same number to text if you want to get through to us that way as well. Talking about the Lions and free agency yesterday. It started, the tampering period started. They're able to agree with deals with certain players. The Lions went out and got a deal to get Cade Mays, the center from Carolina, on a very reasonable deal. 3 years, $25 million total. And hopefully that's a nice upgrade over what they had last year. Should help out the offensive line. And that's the first of hopefully many moves to come. But as Stoney said, still a little concerned that they haven't announced any restructurings with some of the players that they're going to have to do. They have to restructure a deal or two to clear up any kind of cap space, because right now they're operating over the cap. So how do you get under the cap? Restructure. But it hasn't been announced yet. And that is a kind of, it's not concerning to me. It's just, it's odd.
It's peculiar.
It is peculiar that it hasn't been announced yet. So are you panicked as a Lions fan right now? What do you see as the top priority starting day 2 of free agency here, or the tampering period anyway? I guess the free agency officially begins, tomorrow?
Yes.
But what's the next priority for this team? They got center out of the way, which I think is huge. Not only to get it out of the way, they got it away on the cheap. So what has to be the next priority? Let's go to Jay, who's next up here, 97.1. Hey, Jay.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I enjoying the show. I'm not panicking. I realize that every free agent that we've signed in the last so many years, they've gotten better when they've arrived to Detroit. I do think it's going to be a year where we're going to probably, battle in the wild card standings. I think Green Bay has a strong team, but I'm optimistic, but again, there's too many question marks, too many holes with the secondary, with some of these defensive linemen that have been injured. What can you do? I mean, when we do sign free agents like this young center that we've signed, I only think he's only going to get better.
We hope.
I think he'll.
We hope.
So. Yeah, we hope. But again, I mean, the pattern shows that every free agent we've signed, these lower tier free agents, they've stepped up and they've been better. They've outperformed. So
for the most part, you are correct.
Yeah, no, it's true. And thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I'd like to see that trend continue for sure, because it doesn't seem like the Lions are able to operate on the, hey, let's go make the big splash and go get Trey Hendrickson type move, or let's go out and trade for Max Crosby, or whatever that move might be. They weren't they weren't going to bid up to $27 million for Tyler Linderbaum. And had they done that, what would fan reaction have been? Would fans have been happy as hell about that, or would they be like, geez, you overpaid for him? I mean, it's like you damned if you do, damned if you don't in some ways.
I think most people, they look at the money like, I don't care about the money, but it's the salary cap. I think if they would have signed Linderbaum, I think most people would have been pleased with it. But you could definitely say it was an overpay.
Mike is next up here, 97.1. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, hello. Listen, guys, I'm beside myself about how Dallas got Rashad Gary for a 4th-round pick. I mean, how did they pull that off? We could have got him for a third round pick. Don't you think?
Well, they don't have a 3rd-round pick, and it's actually what Dallas did was a 4th-round pick for next year, right? It's a 2027 4th-round pick, I believe.
Yes,
so
you're
if they
correct.
wanted to give up next year's 3rd, they could have. But the thing with Rashawn Gary is that it comes with a massive price tag,
$19.6 million.
Yeah, and then I think it jumps up to 22 next year.
Well, okay. Well, anyway, I didn't know all those details, but it just seems like we need to get an edge rusher. That's my top priority.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, and there are plenty of edge rushers out there. Stoney gave you a few names of guys he likes. We both agree on Cam Jordan.
Right. We don't expect them to be in the Trey Hendrickson sweepstakes.
No, I don't. I do not expect that, and not after Phillips got $30 million a year. What's Trey Hendrickson going to get?
Correct.
He's going to get 35. Is he going to get 40?
Maybe.
He might. I mean, if Hutchinson got 45, Hendrickson obviously is older, but Hendrickson had back-to-back years of 17.5 sacks. Got hurt last year, and I think still had, 5 sacks or something like that, 5 or 7 through the first half of the season before he got shut down.
The only thing that worries me is if he ends up in Chicago.
Well, that would be a big worry.
Yeah.
Because Chicago struck out on Max Crosby. But does Chicago have, well, they probably do have the cap space.
Yeah.
They cleared out a lot in the last week. They've cleared out a ton of cap space, and I would be very concerned about that.
Where are you on the interior of the defensive line, Gator?
I've got concerns. Because of what happened last year with Ali McNeil. I'd like to just brush it off and say, look, he's coming back off the injury. It takes time to really heal from that, and he was good enough to play, but we'll see a better Ali McNeil this year. Just like I would expect we're going to see even a better Aiden Hutchinson this year, even though Hutch was pretty good last year.
Look, I read that what's his name, DJ Reader would like to come back. At what price? He really was disappointed. I don't need to see him next year.
He did an interview with Kay Adams, and he said that too. And then he also said, like, oh, it's out of my hands, and my agent deals with that. I think he knows that he's not going to be back in Detroit, and I'm fine with that. I think DJ Reader's best years are behind him, and I don't think they're going to get anything better from him at this point. Which is it's disappointing, I guess, because now that all the talk is he going to go back to Cincinnati? Will he go back there and maybe be happy there? But he said he enjoyed his time here.
So I have two names for that. I don't think will cost them that much, but they're in the top 10 of available defensive linemen free agents, and one is 40 years old, and that's Calais Campbell. He still has stuff left, man. He's still good. He's still really good. You get him for a 1-year deal. And the other guy, also from Arizona, is Dalvin Tomlinson. He's a pretty good player. There's not a lot there. Jonathan Allen, is he going to, be somebody you want to spend that much money for? I don't know. I don't think so. He's
Probably
a good
not.
player, but he's probably going to cost you too much.
Yeah, I think your starting defensive tackles are Ali McNeil and Tyleek Williams, and I don't think you're looking to try to get somebody better than those two with the money you have to spend. I think you spend the money elsewhere. I spend the money in the secondary because I don't know who the hell's playing corner on this team. You got DJ Reed, and I don't know if Terry Arnold's going to be here. We know Amik Robertson's gone. So I need to get another corner, and I need to get a safety because you're going to start the season. You don't know what you're starting the season with. Like, I know, here's what I do know. Brian Branch is not going to be able to play right away. So if there's no Brian Branch, then that leaves Kirby Joseph. Well, we don't know how healthy Kirby Joseph's going to be to start the season, if he's going to be able to play or not. They're still trying to figure out what the heck is going on there. Is it a degenerative knee issue? Is he ever going to be able to play at that level? Is it just going to be dealing with pain for the rest of his career, however long that's going to be? I don't know, but I want to get ahead of it and go out and sign a safety.
Where are you as far as on defensive back with, Tariq Woolen from Seattle?
I love Rick Woolen.
Okay.
Always have.
So that he's number one on my list at that position. And the other guy is somebody who would be controversial.
Well, hang on to that.
Okay.
I like the controversial take.
Okay.
Because when we're talking secondary with the Lions, obviously there's a lot of work to be done there, and there's a lot of uncertainty going on with the safeties and Terry and Arnold. They just lost Amik Robertson. So we'll get to that coming up next. I want to get to your calls and texts as well, 248-539-9797 as we continue here on 97.1.